Hello, Next Geners. Welcome to our Friday form preview show of Victoria Derby Day at Flemington. Damien Ractliffe from the Age newspaper, joined on every show by Hayden Byrne from Daily Sectionals. G'day, Hayden.
Good evening. How are you?
Good, mate. Quick look at the ice cream. Animo last week from I'm Thunderstruck and Al Bodegon. You basically declared my Oberon as a big winning chance. You declared Francesco Guardi. Bella Nipotina got the job for us in the Manicato. We had such a great day. If you want to go back and watch our show, it's still there on our YouTube channel, our preview of last week. But let's get stuck straight into Derby Day, mate. It's a cracking card. We've got 40 minutes. We're going to start with the Group 1 Victoria Derby. In market order, Berkeley Square is $3.20. Sharp and Smart is $3.60. Mr. Maestro $6.50. Pericle $7.50. And then it's 17 for Muramasa and 23 for the rest.
Good race, isn't it? I'm very disappointed with, from a Derby aspect, that this race was the one that caught the really bad weather. These 3-year-olds, we looked like we had a pretty good grasp on them. And Berkeley Square at Moonee Valley was just dynamic, wasn't it? And
Yep.
Normally when you get these 3-year-olds, class always prevails. And when they start to shine like that, you can normally back up into a Derby and you're almost a good thing, providing you run out the distance. So his performance, it was no lie. He handled some give in the ground. I don't know how he's going to handle the extreme conditions if we remain in that H8 range or worse. For mine, he's clearly the horse to beat. But the horse that's coming down from Sydney, who's come from New Zealand via Sydney down here, Team Rogerson, Smart and Sharp. His 2 wins this time in both in Sydney have been excellent. He had the 10-day backup into Randwick. He's had a 7-day backup and a float trip down to Flemington to run over a Derby trip after a gutbuster on, reasonably wet ground at Randwick last start. So that's a big task. He's going to have to be a tough 3-year-old, but they wanted to aim him at a Cox Plate. Mr. Maestro's done nothing wrong. And then, wider runners for quaddies, etc. You'd be having a look at horses like Gran Piero. And the one who was a little bit disappointing was the performance on Cox Plate Day. Was that Berardino or whatever it's called?
Yeah.
They're the runners I've got the focus on, but all things being equal, if Berkeley Square gets through the ground, I've got an expectation that he could bring that 2,040-metre profile to 2,500 and prove awfully hard to beat.
Cody Winnell in our Facebook group has Mr. Maestro as his best bet at $6. So you're not talking him out of that one?
Oh, when it comes to these, there's a lot of unknowns in the ground. Mr. Maestro, he's ticked the boxes on all conditions, good, soft, heavy. His good and soft performances do far outstrip his heavy run. But, we're talking on a bottomless track and he beat a similar group. So I definitely wouldn't be talking anyone out of them. And that Forsman team definitely know how to win a race of this nature.
Lockie Chapman, can you call me crazy and talk me out of backing Skiffios at 66-1?
Anything at 66-1 in a race like this, if you like it, back it.
Yep. And before scratchings, Grant Jones said, is the first 4 of the Derby covered by numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, and they were Sharp and Smart, Berkeley Square, the scratch runner, Let's Roll the Dice, and Mr. Maestro number 4.
Well, they're the logical, the top of the tree is the top of the talent pile.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a Derby, you've seen in the past that, one of those will hold up. We're stepping into uncharted territory out to 2,500 metres. It's 2,000 metres. You'd be very, very confident that you had the winner. And if you didn't get the winner, you'd be mighty sure you'd finish first 3 out of 2,500s. The unknowns do happen. The Johnny Get Angries, the Rebel Raiders, they do win races of this nature. They're not the highest class 3-year-olds. The high class 3-year-olds go for the Golden Rose, Guineas, etc. So, you sort of get the B grades who try their hand at the extended trip.
Yeah, I'm firmly with you with Berkeley Square. I was taken by his run in the Vase. Looked like he still had more in the tank late. 7-day backup looks good, and he doesn't have to deal with that travel like Sharp and Smart. And I'll give Berardino another chance at, you can boost him to $61. It was basically he didn't have any look. He went untested round in the Vase. So the positive is he's relatively fresh, and Yeah, we did like his run 2 starts back behind Mr. Maestro and thought he could run a better race in the Vars. He went through untested. I'm happy to have a little bet on him as the one who might be able to cause a big upset at the big price. But Berkeley Square looks like the one for me. Let's go to the Coolmore, mate. This is probably the best race of the day at Flemington. We see the Golden Rose form with In Secret, Jacquino, who won that race and then went to the Everest and ran well. Buenos Noches is $8. So sorry, In Secret 340 from Jacquino at 5. Buenos Noches $8 after running second to Giggy Kick on Turnbull Stakes Day. Cool and Gatta $8 was scratched from the Manicato. Then you've got $11 for Grand Impact, 12 for Economics, and 18 for Best of Bordeaux. Then you're down to 21 for the rest.
Didn't know really what to make of this race, to be honest. It's heavy track throws in a brand new dynamic. So there's a little bit of confusion there. The reality where I sit is I wouldn't be surprised if many as 10 to 12 runners bobbed up and won a race like this. Got the class runners. They've come through obscure sort of patterns. Golden Rose, In Secret, Jacquino. In Secret avoids follow-up races, has a big freshen up, comes back here. Jacquino goes to an Everest, uses a Coolmore as, definitely wasn't plan A on the radar. Plan A, once the Golden Rose victory was secured, was, revert back to avoided Guineas, go back to an Everest. Can you refire the guns twice over 1,200 metres? Heavy track once again, another concern. Coolangatta wound up to go in a Manicato, which turned into Manicato on the Saturday afternoon, avoided both races, ends up here. Good dry tracker, tick in the soft, question mark in the heavy. They've tried to avoid that as well. I've got her as a pass mark in this sort of ground, but definitely wouldn't say that she's, outstanding. And then you've got a whole range of a fresh crop that are trying to bring 1,000 metre and 1,100 metre form. And they're trying to not only bring that to 1,200 metres, but they're going to try and elevate off it. So the race, to me, the deeper and deeper I looked at it, the more and more confusion that come in. Jacquino, In Secret, to me, clearly the class 2 runners, just from Coolangatta, who's yet to bring the shorter course profile to 1,200 metres.
Yep.
I was stuck with those runners as the genuine class. And this is another race where class will take you a long way. Then you've got horses like Buenos Noches. Again, with him, his big spike performance was on dry ground. Is that what he's looking for? I feel like he can take the same level to 1,200 metres. Grand Impact's a mud runner. He's got to go in for sure in terms of your multiples, etc. And then the race sort of starts to fall apart. Horses like Economics, you don't like that mishap in the lead-up run. You miss a run. Camp's campaign has to be reshuffled around. To win big races like this, you need everything to go right. But he's an X-factor runner in a race of this nature. Does a horse like Best of Bordeaux, Queen of the Ball, just jump out and run and get a couple of lucky splits and away it goes. So I've got to revert back to the class. I'd rather class on my side than try and ask a horse to do something it's never done in the past. So I got In Secret on top for mine. Not as much confidence as what I would have on dry ground. I'd be very confident on dry ground that she would beat these up. Wet ground, she just comes back to the pack a little bit. So I've got her on top of the obvious in Jacquino. I've got Economics, or whatever his name is, to run a big race, and Coolangatta. But they're the horses that I'm sort of surrounding myself with.
Are pretty similar for me. And I just think with these Coolmores, that 1,400 Golden Rose back to 1,200 is a good recipe, because they can be pretty brutal races, these Coolmores. And the freshen up, J-Mac, a lot of ticks within Secret. And I thought Jacquino got a few favours out wide in that 1,400 metre race. And In Secret was basically the winner for all but the last few strides. So I'm In Secret from Jacquino as well. I've got Economics in my top 4. I'm sort of risking Coolangatta at the strong 1,200. I think the other one I had in there was Buenos Noches. And his wet form is questionable and he's got to step up to 1,200. But he did have that big slowdown 6-4, and we saw Giga Kick really go to another level off that. I'm happy to trust that that form's right, and it wouldn't surprise me to see Buenos Noches leap again. But in secret with J-Mac, a lot of ticks there for me.
With Coolangatta, in terms of like your multiples, quaddies, etc.
Yeah,
you want to pay very, very close attention to what run line these horses take, particularly if they're straight races earlier in the day. If they're along the fence, you can start to play around with a horse like Coolangatta, and if you want to take it on, you can. But if they come down the middle, she's gonna become very dangerous.
I think they'll.
And she just might. If they all come straight down the middle, she could easily kill them.
Yeah. Okay. Let's look at the Empire Rose and a question in our group from Ryan Hay. I think I've seen enough of Le Creek's replays to launch. What's your thoughts, boys? A horse that I don't have any IVR data from, but the boom on her is out of this. Like, they are talking that she's better than Melody Bell, which, you know, that makes her extremely dangerous in a race of this nature. And I thought a couple of the main chances or main dangers, like Hinged, well, they've decided to stay in Sydney for the Golden Eagle.
They have. Are we going to put the power balls back in the pot and have another go at the barriers for this one, or is 2 enough for this? Is it?
It seems like two's enough, and Yearning went from barrier 14 to 15. I think Daisies went from barrier 2 to 3. Conveniently, a couple of the emergencies drew barriers 19 and 20. So anyway, that is what it is. But what can you tell us about Le Creek, the Kiwi?
Lovely horse. Is like, you know, the bullshit starts very early in the week, and then it becomes a competition between everybody to how big can I go before everybody just starts carrying on. And what makes it even worse is when you get a My Oberon, who they couldn't see coming, does what he does, then the next one's just, you know, I'm not going to miss this time. I looked like a dodo last weekend, but this time I'm not going to miss. So I heard this bloke say this about it, so I'm going to pump the tyres up a little bit more. And by the end of it, there's a Moomba float brigade coming down the main street of Melbourne trying to back these horses. Funny thing with this one, she's pretty real. You know, there's not a lot of BS about her. In terms of running comparables against her to Melody Bells, I think I heard some real BS during the week about comparing her to, who was the other little favourite of ours that she ran in a couple of Cox Plates? Her name started with P.
Probabil.
You know, comparable saying that not only is it equal of that's most likely better, you know, sometimes we've just got to just rein it all back in a little bit. But the thing is that she's better than these. So Ryan Hay and his replays, pretty sharp eye. And that eye only gets sharper as the night goes on. So, yeah, you're on the money. I've got a big expectation that this might be, you know, this might be the punter's favourite for the afternoon. The BS, they might get away with the BS on this one. Let's just say that. I've got her as expected to win. I think there's a bunch of fillies and mares here who are going below average, and wet tracks only hurt their chances even further. This little girl's a mud runner. You got the best rider on the planet on. She'll be winning. I can sort of make little cases for about 5 or 6. Your Ice Baths, your Nimalees, you know, the same old stooges that show up in all of them. But these fillies and mares do have, you know, big performances, this track, trip, conditions. You know, they tick a lot of boxes and they're going to beat half the field. So there wasn't many sleepers that I could really come up with.
Yeah.
I just thought the race, for me, it was Le Creek or bust. You know, you can throw a horse like a Kiku into your wider quaddies, Belle Plaisir into your wider quaddies. Not, you know, the further down, the deeper I go, the less excited I get. So Le Creek, I can't really split Nemile Ice Bath. Think one will show up and run in the money. And then I've got a Kiku Belplacia, but really not interested in the rest.
Yeah, we're seeing a pretty similar. I thought Hinge could run a race, but she's obviously staying in Sydney. We'll get your thoughts later on the Golden Eagle. So the boom on the creek seems real. I'll be on her. I thought Kiku was the one at a big price that I could maybe entertain in a quaddie. For those wondering, Le Creek is $2.25 from She's Lickety Split, Ice Bath at 11, Palasipan at 13, Yearning at 16. But she might be a star, and they're talking Cox Plates in 12 months' time. Yes or no? Should Cox Plate horse for next year?
Not at the moment.
Okay, let's start with race 1 then. We'll roll through this card because I want to get your thoughts on the Golden Eagle and Sydney Stakes as well. Race 1, the Carbine Club. Pungo at 340, Tijuana 420, Elkington Road 8, Sandpaper 850, and Fortune Teller 850.
Yeah, Carbine Club, always an interesting race. Real good race to go and get yourself some lunch and start to enjoy the afternoon. A lot of rubbish gets spoken about, history says, and that sort of
out of the guineas and whatnot.
Like,
yep.
Oh, yeah, it's one of the real great rubbish talking sessions about Carbine clubs. It's the C graders. They're not much good. Sandpaper's evolving, as is Elkington Road. No knock at all. Pungo. J-Mac on sides. So when it comes, I think, from one of those three, but not interested in them, to be honest.
Yeah, and I sort of thought I'd rather, if I'm going to have a bet, I'll have it on Sandpaper. I think I got 10s yesterday or the day before, still 850, a bit of value there. William Buick, is he one of your favourites?
William Buick, very, very talented rider from UK and more than capable of performing on any stage in the world.
All right.
No problem at all backing him.
Race 2, the Lexus Archer Stakes. A couple of these trying to get their way into the Melbourne Cup. Surefire's 290, not in the Melbourne Cup picture. Realm of Flowers is the second favourite at 5, but a high chance that they might scratch tomorrow morning, given the fallout from the Melbourne Cup, and real possibility that she just walks into the field. Allegron 6, again, James Cummings will decide in the morning whether they want to run him and then back him up again on Tuesday. He's already guaranteed to start in the Cup on Tuesday. Interpretation is 6 and definitely needs to win. A Warning at 12, Serpentine 16. Serpentine just needs to finish top 3 to pass the ballot and get into the race. Great House out of the Melbourne Cup at 18. Chapada and Shabao 21 and 23. There is a vet inspection on Shabao that he needs to pass, but those two horses, Chapada and Shabao, just need to finish top 3 as well to pass the ballot.
Is that how low we're getting into the Cup these horses are in?
Yeah, well, Shabao's 30th in the order. Chapada, I think, 29th. Serpentine, 28th, roughly. But they haven't placed in a race over 2,400 at group level in the past 12 months. So they haven't passed the ballot yet. Interpretation, I think, is around 27, 26, but hasn't won enough prize money yet. So needs to win to get needs to win and gets a definite ticket into the race.
So if the Duke of New Orleans or whatever his name is, the favourite, if he was to come out, Deauville Legend, if he was to come out, I think we should make a big case to get the hurdles out.
Well, you tell us, mate. Well, no, actually, let's save that for Sunday's podcast. We're going to do a runner by runner with Andrew Hawkins. So let's save the Melbourne Cup till then. Let's focus on...
Fair enough. Okay, so Surefire, does he need a win to get in, or is he in?
He's not going to the Melbourne Cup.
Well, he's not going to the Melbourne Cup then, so he'll be winning here. He's flying this horse. Ignore his... I thought his run in the Geelong Cup was very good, but just put aside for 1 second that he ran second. Had to overcome some adversity between the 4 and the 2 in terms of speed profile. Emissary had the jump on him and could not match his speed late over the last 200 metres. He is a fantastic little each-way bet here. Goes all conditions, tick, tick, tick. Allegron in good order. Forget the Caulfield Cup run. Go on the starts prior. He'll love the heavy track. Realm of Flowers, I thought she was a genuine chance in a race like this. Loved her performance in the Metro. And then when you start to talk about sleepers, etc., there isn't really many. Very thin race. Race falls apart.
Did you say Surefire was an each way?
Did I say he was an each way?
Was that Surefire you were saying tick, tick, tick?
Yeah.
I think you might have said he was an each way. He's $2.90 and $1.45, so that might be a bit short for each way.
It's each way every day of the week and twice on Sunday.
All right, mate. I made him,
45% on, make 45% on your money.
I think he's the best bet of the day. You can back him the win and he won't be losing. I think he's a standout. Let's go to race 3, mate. Generation 420 from Triple Missile, $5. Gravina 8, Curran 11, General Bow 12, Jamea 12, Argentia 12, the Astrologist 13.
Don't really like the race. Limited straight track, like genuine straight track profile horses from the visitors. The Astrologist is a funny one. He looked ready, a touch disappointing to me. Going to give him one more chance. Would like to see them come down the middle for him to be winning. If they push to the fence, it might be a little bit tough with the likes of Sirius Suspect, Generation and Co. They might just go a bit keen for him, but he's going to be a hard horse to pass. And, on the each way line, he's not hopeless. Jamee's an interesting runner for mine. She's got big straight line speed. This is probably one of the better races I've seen her in for a while. So she's a runner that I'm highly, highly respecting, and Gravina's Airborne. So I'm sort of around those three with the thought process that Generation's likely going to land, somewhere around the podium. So I've got to be careful with Generation, but the Astrologist, Jamea and Gravina, all at big prices, look good to me.
Yeah, no, we're seeing it pretty similar. I'm happy to give the Astrologist one more chance. I thought he could run, top 3, top 4 in the Manicato. We know that was moved from the Friday to Saturday and it really fell apart. So happy to forgive that. Quick backup. Mark Zara on board. I think Grant Jones in our group said nice odds the Astrologist back at Flemington, ? So we're all sort of seeing that as a bit of an each way play. He loves the straight. Again, I respect Generation, but I don't know. I'm sort of with you that this race is not really something I'm overly excited about, but at an each way, bigger each way price, I can have something on the Astrologist. I do respect there's a lot of talk about Gravina at the moment. I think the track manager said working really well at home and he's got his eyes on those horses. I asked James Cummings outside of his Group 1 runners who was he excited about this weekend, and he said Gravina, William Buick again on board, so respect that. And Triple Missile is one of my favourites. Might not have to go to a very high level to win this if some of the others don't turn up, but not an overly exciting race. Race 4 is the Wakeful 2,000 metres for the 3-year-old fillies. They'll back up in the Oaks on Thursday, you'd think, all going well. Jenny Jerome 440. I don't have this in order. Now I do. Jenny Jerome 440. As time goes by, 480. Pavitra 650. So dazzling 750. Queen Air at 10. Zenzella is 11 and it's 15 the rest.
This is a thin group of horses, isn't it?
It appears that way. And the heavy track just makes it a bit more confusing, I think.
Yeah, it does. But, you go through these horses and you really get the microscope out and have a good look at their profiles. And nearly every one of them you'll want to knock at 2,000 metres plus. They just don't look like they've got the profile to get it at any extraordinary level. They're progressive. The Wakeful's normally the race where the best of the crop shines.
Yeah.
But finding the best of the crop here isn't the easiest of missions. Jenny Jerome's the horse who looks like it's been set the whole campaign with this in mind. Horrible ride last start.
Yeah.
It just, everything that could have gone wrong went wrong. Prepared to forget it, go on the previous. I'm in its corner slightly in terms of being a podium player. then I looked at it and I really wanted to know who I thought the best horse was, and I landed on As Time Goes By.
Yeah.
But again, a horse like Pravita is going to ask you to run a PB to beat it. So that's when things start to get sticky. It's a real keep your money in your pocket sort of scenario. I think Pravita, I can't really see it doing anything else, but it's going to come in, number one ranking. But it should be a level that as time goes by can easily eclipse. So as time goes by, Jenny, Jerome, Pravita, and don't really have anything else that I was interested in outside of those. So, if anything sneaks up on me, it's going to expose itself for the Oaks and you can be ready then. So it's a no bet race and watch for me, but a bit disappointed in their level at the moment.
Yeah, I had As Time Goes By on top. A couple of others of interest. Queen Air has only had 2 starts, Hayden. First start, soft track Geelong, dashed home late over 14:47. Then didn't really handle what looked like Moonee Valley. And Moonee Valley can be a tough track to handle when it's a heavy track, but was still accelerating late.
It's one of those ones.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's one of those horses. You're going to have to find 4 to 5 lengths off your last start.
Yep.
And you're going to have to run a 2 to 3 length PB, stepping up 400 meters in distance when you don't profile right now like you're going to thrive at it. I understand a lot of these horses haven't had race shapes to really expose them to a fantastic level, but they also haven't had brutal race shapes and can't really respond to any decent level off the soft speed. So that's when it starts to throw the element of confusion in there until you get a genuinely run race, which Pravita might put on.
Yeah.
Then you don't really know. Pravita might just bugger off on them.
Yeah. The other one that was I'm really confused about was Thinking Rain. Has had 3 starts, 1,200, 1,200, 1,400, and now it's here over 2,000 meters. So, I don't know. Maybe it's a field job if you're having cracks at, early quaddies and big sixes. 10 minutes to go. Lynn Lithgow, 1,400 meters, race 5. Tarat 380, Old Flame 460, Pride of Jenny 650, Sinawan 10, Lord Vladivostok is 10, Ironclad 12, Crosshaven 14, the Inferno 15.
Yeah, Tarat going well this campaign, trending a little bit under last campaign, but had the longer break, so I can understand it. Should evolve further into the campaign this time. So, happy enough there. Pride of Jenny, dangerous runner. This looks like checkmate move for me.
Is Jewel Nobbs? I think she might be in the Empire Rose as well, isn't she?
Yeah, but wasn't she? Is she in that race? Is she?
She is guaranteed a start, so she's $26, but they might avoid Le Creek and go to this race.
Yeah, I'd go to this race. You much better chance of featuring very deeply in the money. It's a jump lead and be very, very difficult to catch.
Yeah.
Then after that, we start to talk about a series of serial pests. So, I thought the winner comes from Pride of Jenny, Turath, and even Sinawan. I'm interested that Damien Lane's not on Turath and Darren Buick goes on to that one. So, will he get it? Damien knows the horse back to front. But I'd be surprised if the winner doesn't come from those 3. Couldn't really make excuses up for the rest. They're just a bunch of serial pests, the ones under them.
Yeah, so Damien Lane doesn't have a ride in the race by the looks.
Yeah, and he's got the kiboshi from that one.
Weird. Yeah, that is strange after a good win on Geelong Cup Day. Maybe he had he committed to one that's been scratched, maybe. No, he hadn't, so I'm not sure what happened there. I thought Sinawan was ready. Has had the 3 runs this campaign. Looks like it returned in really good order. Second start, slow first section, but sustained speed over 600 meters. Last start on a soft track, good mid-race squeeze on a soft track, just gave out late, looks ready, fourth up. And they're talking about maybe backing up for a Champions Mile next week. That race is going to come up really strong with I'm Thunderstruck, Alligator Blood, My Oberon. They want to have this horse on song to be backing up in a race like that. So this is a bit of a D-day for him if he's going to be running in a Champions Mile in 7 days' time. I don't think they're overly enthusiastic about the heavy, but his 2 runs on soft tracks have been okay. So at sort of $11, $11, I think Sinawan's one that could elevate at a nice price. We've covered races 6, 7, and 8, the Group 1s. Race 9 is the Furphy Sprint. As for her, you mentioned her a couple of weeks ago at $3. She had the class. You would have loved to have backed her. You just wanted all the ducks to line up. They didn't in the form guide, but they did on race day.
Yeah, jump lead win scenario, wasn't it? And I think she might jump lead win again.
Yeah.
She's the class runner with some upside. Juan Diva, in good order. A few key pointers about that particular runner that say that she's going to play first up. So I'll be ready for her. Race sort of falls apart behind them. Not a lot to get excited about. Zapate, I think it was a flat run last start. She'll bounce big time into this. Very fine red, very good track runner.
Yep.
Shellstar I touched on last time is a little bit of an untapped talent. So they're the horses I'll be focusing on. But Asfura, bright future.
I think we've mentioned. I think I've got the same 4 as you with Asfura on top. Shellstar, Zapateo, a very fine red. I'll let you get up Sydney now. We'll just look at 2 races, the Nature Strip Stakes Race 7 and the Golden Eagle Race 8. We've got 5 minutes. So while you're getting them up, a couple other questions from the Facebook group, a couple of questions about Claremore. We're going to see him at Kyneton on Wednesday. He was due to run Manikato Stakes night. He was favourite in the last race. Unfortunately, lightning struck. And we had to find another race. He was down for the Kyneton Cup, but that might come up a touch strong. So there's a benchmark 64 on the same day. He can go to the front at Kyneton on a wet track and win again. Another question here about Eduardo. So race 7, let's look at that race. The Nature Strip Stakes, lost and running 230 from Marzu 420, Private Eye 6, Eduardo 8, Masked Crusader 11. Does the winner come from those 5?
It sure does. Eduardo jumps, leads, capitulates at the 100 metres, lost and running, strangles him. And you just got to take a little look at the top of the straight. And if Private Eye's within 2 of lost and running, it'll be a ding-dong battle to the line. If he's not, lost and running win easily. Lost and running on top of Private Eye, Masked Crusader. It's D-Day, big boy. This is it. Tommy Berry back aboard.
So no concerns with that little hiccup. Lost and running obviously had to miss the Everest.
No, not at all. Happy, ready to go.
We know you're a big
on O'Shea.
Know you're a big Private Eye fan, but you're would you be betting Lost and running?
Yeah.
Or 2 horse play or?
I like Lost and running. This just looks like the more you look at it, the better it looks. I'm happy there, and I've got no interest in any of the others. They're the only 3 horses I care about.
Okay, Light Infantry is the $3.50 favourite in the Golden Eagle. This will be first start in Australia with Jamie Spencer on board, barrier 7. Chain of Lightning 6, in the Congo 10. I Wish I Win 12, Hinge 13, Gypsy Goddess 14, Mr. Mozart 17, Fangirl 17, Valana 19, Overpass 21, and Weewall 21 with Frankie Dettori on top. We did have a question as well about Pinstriped is $34, barrier 20, has the barrier meant Pinstripe is just a runner with no chance. We've got 2 minutes 45 left.
I'm not interested in anyone else but Light Infantry. The wins, and you Pinstripe won't blow smoke up this. It wouldn't matter if they drew 15 metres in front of it.
Obviously, you've got a big expectation then on light infantry Australian debut. No knock, Jamie Spencer.
No, all good. All my little duckies are in order. Lovely horse comes through some very, very, very good French form lines. And they're the right form lines for that crop of French horses. Their little Christmas tree will take you through the Arc. It'll take you through all the big predators, and they're all around the right horses. So it's the right horse. This crop's down on historical Golden Eagle form. Horses like I Wish I Win and the Next Level. Wee Wally's a little chance. Then you've got it's just all serious after him. It's a raffle. So you've got to put your ducks somewhere, and that's where they're going for me. The race falls apart. After him, I've got question marks. So I Wish I Win. I think it's overrated. There's a lot of bull dust about him being a Cox Plate horse. That was a lot of rubbish. It's him for me or bust.
Okay, Dave Van Jelly, is Hayden wearing next gen merch tonight?
No, I've actually got New York City Football Club from the MLS on.
All right, we're going to get you some next gen merch. It comes very quickly. Fanfave.com.au. If you want to buy that, Nicole Nugent's just messaging me, have you recorded yet? So yes, Nicole, we're recording right now. Reese with a question there on how Flemington plays. Well, it's going to be heavy 8. I think they'll be coming down the middle on Derby Day, and we'll address how it plays on Cup Day in our Sunday podcast. And Daniel Crespin, can J-Mac ride the quaddie at Flemington? Well, J-Mac can do anything. See who he's got in the quaddie. In secret, yes, we've got it on top. Sharp and Smart. Well, we think Barclay Square is going to probably be the winner there. Le Creek, yes, back Le Creek. And not Written Beauty. I don't think we think Written Beauty is in the numbers. But good to chat, mate. Derby Day. We see it pretty similarly, and our numbers will be on Facebook on Saturday morning.
Enjoy your day, mate.
See you, buddy.